at solving linear systems by using the elimination method. So elimination is a method used to solve linear systems by matching the coefficients of one variable by multiplication, then adding or subtracting the equations to eliminate the variable. So if the variable coefficients already match, you don't need to do multiplication. If they don't match, that's when you need to do multiplication. So today's lesson is just going to look at when they do match. The next lesson will look at when they don't match. So in this first box here, it says, if the coefficients of one of the variables are the same value and the same sign, subtract the equation. So for example, if I have 2x in one equation and I have a positive 2x in another equation, they're both 2 in value and they're both positive. So we would subtract these two coefficients to get 0. So there would be no x's left. When the same sign and same value, we subtract the equation. Conversely, if the coefficients of one of the variables are the same value and opposite signs, we would add the equation. So if on one equation, for example, I have 2x, and the other equation, I have negative 2x, so although they're the same value, the signs are different, we would add these because 2 plus negative 2 would give us 0. So we'll put a couple of these into practice as we work through these equations using the elimination method. So example 1 says solve the linear system by elimination. So the first thing we're going to do, we've got x's and we've got y's. The coefficients on the x's are different, but the coefficients on the y's are the same. So we are going to eliminate the y value. Look at the signs on the y. So we have the same value, and that value would be 1 as the coefficient on the y. But we've got opposite signs. So when our value is the same and the signs are the opposite, the method is to add the equations. So if I rewrite these two equations here, 3x plus y equals 19. And right underneath, I'm going to have 4x minus y equals 2. So for this bottom equation, I am going to add the coefficients to get my new value. So when I add 3x plus 4x, I'm going to get 7x here. When I have positive 1, so I'm going to write this over here so you guys can see it. So I'm going to add the coefficients on the y's now. So I have positive 1y plus negative 1y. So when we talked about integers, when we started this course, we said this is a double sign, so this becomes a negative. So I have 1 minus 1, that gives me the 0. So this is where the elimination comes from. So this would just be 0. Positive 1y plus negative 1y gives me 0. So I can put it in. You can put it in as a plus 0 if you want, or you can just leave it. Then we've got 19 plus 2, which gives us 21. So now we're going to solve for x. So we've got 7x equals 21. Isolate the variable by dividing out the 7. And we've got x equals 3. Okay, so this is the elimination method. Find where the coefficients are the same. If the signs are opposite, add. If the signs are the same, you would subtract. And then just subtract the coefficient or add the coefficients as being said and solve for x. So this would be part A of the solution. Part B is we need to find the y value. So we're going to take this x equals 3 and sub it into one of the equations. So I'm just going to pick the top equation. So wherever there's an x, I'm going to put a 3 plus y equals 19. So I've subbed in my answer of x equals 3 into my top equation. 9 plus y equals 19. And then when I rearrange to solve for that y, I get 19 minus 9, and y is equal to 10. And then part C, we say, therefore, the point of intersection given as a coordinate of x, y is equal to 3, 10. So that is substituting by elimination when we add, because the signs are opposite. So let's solve this linear system using the elimination method. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write these equations vertically, because I find it easier to see when they're vertical. Then everything gets kind of lined up. So negative 2x plus y equals negative 1. So when I look at this, I see here that these two signs are the same. They're both addition. They have the same coefficient. So when the signs are the same, if you go back to here, the rule is to subtract. So we are going to subtract. Now, why did I put this in brackets? Well, because I have negative signs here, and we don't want them to get lost. So when we subtract, we say 2 minus negative 2. So again, like I did last time, I'm just going to take this 2x, I'm going to subtract negative 2x. So again, when we did our review way back when, we said this is a double sign, so this becomes an addition. So 2 plus 2x would give me 4x. Y minus y would be 0, so I would have nothing there. That's the elimination part. And this is equal to, and I'll write it to the side again, negative 5 minus negative 1. So again, hopefully you guys notice that this is the double sign here. This changes to a plus, so it would read negative 5 plus 1, which would give me negative 4. So when we solve for x here, we divide out this 4, we divide out a positive 4, and we'd have x equals negative 1. So this is our part A. So these questions are long, they take a long time. When you do your work, show your work. Don't just put an answer, and if you can, work vertically like this. Example, so we start at the top and we work our way down. That would be fantastic, because it's really hard to read a horizontal response doing it this way. So now we take our negative 1 and we sub it into an equation. So I'm going to just, again, pick the first equation. So I've got, 2. I'm going to sub in my negative 1 for x plus y equals negative 5. So here distributing negative 2 plus y equals negative 5. Y equals negative 5 plus 2. When we move that negative 2 to the other side, it becomes positive. Y equals negative 3. So finally, what we do is our part C, and we say point of intersection, that's an O, equals our set of coordinates, x, y. and then you fill in your coordinates. X is -1, y is -3. And just a reminder, what this actually means is when you graph these two lines on the same Cartesian plane, they would cross when x is -1 and y is -3. So this is it for today. You'll have a couple questions in your homework that I would like you guys to practice. And if you have questions, just send me those questions.